Apple will change how app developers ask users for permission to use personal data for targeted advertising.
Well, after Germany's competition authority found that Apple's rules could give its own apps an unfair advantage, well, the changes will affect how consent pop-ups appear on iPhones and iPads and give third-party developers more flexibility in how they ask for user permission.
The case centers on Apple's app tracking transparency framework, which requires apps to ask users for permission before tracking their activity across other apps and websites. Germany's Federal Cartel Office said Apple's own apps were given more favorable consent prompts, while third-party apps face more restrictive options. Under the new commitments, third-party apps will have to use consent pop-ups that are visually or linguistically neutral, meaning users should not be steered towards or away from giving permission. Developers will also have more flexibility to combine Apple's required tracking requests with their own data protection consent prompts.
Well, Apple has 4 months to implement the changes, which will remain in place for 7 years under the oversight of an independent trustee. Now, the issue matters to developers because targeted advertising can generate more revenue than broad non-personalized campaigns. Companies such as Meta rely on user data to target advertising more accurately. Well, Apple says the changes will apply in almost all of EU countries and that it has already adapted the wording and design of its consent prompt.
The German decision closes an investigation that has lasted several years, but it is not the first European action over Apple's app tracking rules. France has fined Apple about $174 million, while Italy has imposed a fine of about $114 million over the same framework.